Nicolai, how are you? Good to see you. Great playing today. This golf course is a lot different than others you play on the PGA Tour or DP World Tour. What are the keys to success around a golf course like this one?
It's the same thing as always. You got to hit fairways, you got to hit other greens. It's a golf course where it's quite gettable off the tee. There's a few tee shots where you got to hit some good ones, but you can kind of get away with it out here. But into the greens, you got to position yourselves quite good. Give yourself some good looks, and everyone thinks it's going to be like really low scoring, but it's not really low today, which is kind of surprising. But the course is in good condition, and there's a few birdies out there.
What would you say are the trouble spots out there?
I would say, I think when you go 16, 17 can be tricky in the afternoon. It gets into wind. We played them in a perfect conditions this morning, so you don't feel like it's that bad. It was a 6-iron on 17, and it's probably going to be a 4-iron in the afternoon, and 8 and 10 as well. Even though you get 10 in the morning, it's still tricky. You gotta get a tee shot in play, and it's still a long iron into the green, and then 8 now it's into wind. So there's a few tricky holes out there, but there's a lot of good holes as well where you can make birdies.
One thing you said was a big difference between the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour is how much these players focus on wedge game and putting. How much have those things been kind of a focus of your work week to week?
It's definitely, wedges in general is just so important. It's when you play courses, when you lay up on a par 5, you got to be able to make the old school birdies and instead of just overpower it all the time. And when you're out of position and you chip it back in the fairway, you got to be able to sometimes make those crucial par saves. And I felt like the end of last season was really good wedge game, and I felt like we got a little bit to catch up. But in general, it's such an important thing to keep rounds going, but also take it really low. And putting as usual is always where you're gonna separate yourself.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nicolai, how are you? Gabo from G Social. I noticed on 17 that the tee boxes were switched from the tee box on the far right to the left. How did that change? Did it change a lot, and especially on that pin on the left, tucked in?
I actually think it's a way easier hole off the left. You kind of taking water a bit more out of play. I feel like you're crossing more over the water instead of having it on the left side and from the right tee box, and the hole is definitely shorter. So the hole was quite gettable when we played it this morning. It's probably going to be a bit tricky in the afternoon when it's going to be into wind and probably play a little bit longer. But it's a big target up there, but you just know there's trouble left.
You spoke that the last few holes, 17, were tough. Coming on a Sunday, what would be the strategy when you come into that long par 4 on 16, then coming into 17, 18?
Very simple. Hit the fairway and hit the greens. But it's play the situation. Whatever the situation you're in, you're going to play for it and make a decision on how you're feeling when you get there. It's a wide target on 16 as well, but you know the right side when it gets into wind, the trees are in the way. So you got to get it close to the bunkers, and if you hit in the bunkers, it's not easy. So there's a little bit of stuff going on out there, but in general, it's quite gettable off the tee.
Best of luck this week.
Thank you.
Cheers.